Hi, my name is Caroline Lovett and I am a contemporary figurative painter. I was born in London to Irish Catholic parents, and I grew up in North London, went to school, convent school, had all the traditional sort of Catholic upbringing. Parents who came from farms in Southern Ireland, spent a lot of time in Ireland growing up, all the summers, all the winters. That big journey across the Irish Sea was a regular nightmare for me. Left home really early. I left home at 16, quite traumatic circumstances going on at the time. And I really wanted to study fine art. It had been the thing that I loved when I was doing my A-levels. Unfortunately, I was not in a position where I valued enough the things that I wanted to do in my life and listen to other people's advice. And I dropped my foundation course and went off and studied law instead. Trained as a solicitor, didn't actually practice, went into becoming a justice of the peace in the magistrates' courts for a few years, and did that all the way up till I was in my mid-30s. I didn't actually return to painting until a few years back, and my real sort of journey into earnest has been through an independent art school in Wood Green called the Essential School of Painting. And I feel that some of the themes from my childhood have definitely cropped up in my work, particularly of recent, and some of the threads to do with the work that I chose or the study that I did to do with law. Very interested in justice or injustice, truth, histories and religion. They seem to be quite common themes. And if you look at some of the work that I've made in the past year, responding to some of the things that are going on in the world, some of them personal, some of them universal, you'll see that is a theme that runs throughout my work. I began at the Essential School of Painting. It's my first sort of foray into earnestly painting, and I took a massive leap of downscaling my work and committing myself to doing we actually ended up being a 3-year course at the Essential School of Painting under the helm of Dan Coombs, a very brilliant painter also. And I started by making very large-scale figurative works. They were very brightly coloured. They're usually of scenes of many people together. Some people describe them as being quite Renaissance in style. I found they were like an opportunity for me to describe aspects of my world and things that were going on for me. There's a lot to do linked into music, when I was growing up, there was a lot of music in the house, the Irish community, there's a lot of dancing, family gatherings. The Irish families obviously are huge. There would always be a bit of a hoolie when we got together. So music was quite pivotal to our gatherings, and it's quite pivotal to some of my paintings also. So when I first started a few years ago, it was all about parties, rave scenes, all of the sort of carnage that happens when people wake up the next day. And in actual fact, I'm going to be showing a couple of paintings from that period in the next week at the Copeland Gallery as part of the Universe Within, which is being curated by Latifa Stranack. And these paintings are a large scale. Some of them are nearly 3 metres by 2. There's multiple figures in them. One of them is a scene from one of my daughter's hen parties in Portugal, which is a sort of a recent phenomenon, isn't it, of, this ritual of you've got to have a hen party. And it's a mother's view of the hen party, both the positive, and there is an undercurrent of a protective, predatory concern that I had. I've also got another painting called One Shoe Deborah, which is partly imagined, partly used some reference material from photographs I'd taken at the hen party of the carnage when people wake up the next day. And it's quite a funny painting. It's not meant to be taken absolutely literally, but there's enough room in it for you to imagine what was going on. I really enjoyed making those paintings. They're beautifully brightly coloured, and in a way, I think they were dealing with some distraction for me for different things that were going on in my personal life, because shortly after all of these paintings were made, I then made a very conscious choice to go a little bit deeper, because there was some stuff happening in my own private life that was quite traumatising. So my recent work has evolved into working with sort of more universal themes and personal themes of feeling like you're alienated from people, losing people, having that sense of loss, feeling like you're an outsider, which in many respects, growing up in an Irish community in North London, not that there was overt racism, and we did live in an area where there are many Irish families and go to a Catholic school, you did always feel like you weren't part of the community, and the friendship groups that we had were only Irish people. We didn't really mix with English people. I'm not sure if that was to do with my parents' distrust or just the possibility wasn't there. I'm not sure. But definitely in my recent work in the last year, 18 months, all of those themes have been worked through. And there's also some religious symbols that seem to appear, mainly because I'm a Catholic and it was a huge part and is still a big part of my life. My biggest influences. So if I'm being really at grassroots level, I think you have to honour the people that have inspired you to actually start making the work. So I give a huge amount of gratitude to the art school, the Essential School Painting, and my mentors, Dan Coombs, he was running the advanced painting group, which we were in for 2 years, and Alison Harper, who is the director. They are very special people with a very keen eye for assisting you to find your artistic voice, I would say. So what I love about that particular school is how they've there's so many different styles of people coming out of it, so it's not like you're being told to paint in this particular way. They encourage you to find your own unique style, which I definitely feel has happened for me, particularly in the last year or so, where I've moved into working in all sorts of different mediums. The other big influences I would say would be the last year that I was working as part of the early artist development year. We had the very eminent Hughie O'Donoghue as a mentor. He is a wonderful artist, and he has given us a lot of help in the last year to sort of be clear on where we place ourselves in the art world and where we see ourselves going. I also think on a personal level, Hughie O'Donoghue's own journey meant a lot to me, because he has a father called Vincent too, like my own, who grew up in the same part of Ireland, and so there were similarities in terms of understanding the journey that each person's family may have been on. Now, if I talk about other artists that I don't know so well, that I really look at and spend a lot of time studying their work, and I find myself coming back to them when I'm about to make work to just see what they're doing. I've been to a lot of Ken Curry's shows. I've had actually a mentoring session with him. He's amazing. I think going to see the Black Boat at the Flowers Gallery was a real change for me, because I was ready to make some dark work, but I didn't think you could produce work that had that theme and it be so powerful and so well received. So the turning point for my moving from the party scenes into, I think the very first one I did was The Curse of the Modern Mariner, which is a scene from a courtroom, a scene that I witnessed when a trial went really horribly wrong, and I feel there were some unjust parts to it. I won't go no further than that than to say it was the first time as an adult I'd realised that the court system doesn't always play as fairly as we think it does. So from seeing the Black Boat show, I came back to Wood Green, to my studio in Aesop, and started working on these darker themes. I then also took an opportunity to go up to Edinburgh and see Ken Curry's work, and stumbled on Peter Housden's work, who I absolutely love. And I feel he's like the real crossover between the multi-figured work that I do and the very solid, powerful, solitary figures of Ken Curry's. If I could merge the two in one, that would be my perfect artistic sort of inspiration. And then there are a few others that I've also leaned into. I enjoyed seeing the Ansel Kiefer show at the White Cube a couple of years ago. I did start thinking about how to put different mediums into my paint. Some worked, some didn't work. I sort of think it was ticking away in the background, so when I thought about introducing the sand and the earth into my paintings, he definitely had a profound effect on that. I am equally inspired on a huge scale by Peter Doig, as probably so many other people are. I think I love his scale without even knowing I've got a very similar scale to his. I like the interplay between different marks, the softness, the depth. I look at his work a lot. He's literally on the breakfast table. And one of the paintings that I would say I most was influenced by was one of the last in my series about a journey that my son is on, and it's called Uncharted Territory. And when I looked at my work when it was finished, I could really see that I had been studying Peter Doig. And of course I don't even know how you describe her, but she's absolutely one of my all-time favourite artists, Paula Rego. I love the way that she makes her work. I love that there's stuff going on that you don't know about, that she doesn't want to tell you about, but she's using her art almost in a way to show you her feelings. And she's been a real salve to me when I'm wanting to make work and not knowing how to represent it, to go back and look at her. Since I've gone back to be an artist in residence at the ESOP, I have begun a whole series of pastels. And I realised that when I was doing my A-levels when I was very young, sort of 16, 17, I had quite a natural style that was really quite similar to Paula Rego's. So I'm sort of trying to spend a bit more time thinking about her work. And I'm using the opportunity to have a smaller studio in London and a painting studio in Suffolk to see if I can bring those drawing ideas into my paintings and see how that develops things. So what I am doing at the moment is getting ready also. I've got a show coming up. This Thursday it opens at the Copeland Gallery, as I said earlier. And once I finish that, I'm tying up the last few paintings, which are all to do with the White Horse. They were using a lot of white sand and different layers of materials. And I've got about 4 or 5 paintings on the go of that one to finish off the Journey series. And it is about a journey that I've been on and my family, and it's quite deep and sad, but there's a turning point where this white horse appears, and all will be revealed in the next few months when I show those works, hopefully at a solo show. Then the series that I'm going to be working on after Christmas, I've been planning for about 18 months, and it came up as well around the time of me making all the deeper themed work. Obviously, as I've said, being an Irish Catholic, there's a lot of religion and a lot of iconography and work that sort of goes into your unconscious mind and sometimes just pops up to remind you. So I'm doing a series of 7 paintings. I need to go to the Prado in Madrid to have an opportunity to see some work that is really important to me in referencing this material. And once I come back from there, I shall start my series around Christmas. Another question that I've been asked is, what advice would you give your younger self? That is a brilliant question to ask when you're in the mid-stage of your life, when I feel like I've only just taken the opportunity to do something I wanted in my life, and it has been so life-changing that you sort of kick yourself, or why did you not do it sooner? But circumstances are different. I had children, I had an unpleasant divorce, I had all sorts of coercive relationships that didn't allow me to be able to do what I wanted to do, and now I'm in a very different place. But the advice I would give my younger self is to not listen to what anyone else says about what you should do with your life. You should listen to what stirs your heart. So the money will always be a worry, but the money will always follow where the skill is. And I would always say to any youngster nowadays, just do what you love, because you will be brilliant at it. Music, as I've already touched on a few times already, I'm big into music. On the sideline, I'm a house DJ, so I've been doing that on and off for about 20 years. I play at little intimate parties, I play at some clubs. Obviously my art is the most important thing, but the music does, when I'm making party scenes, it's so natural for me just to listen to my favourite house producers, favourite labels like Defected, Simmer Black. That type of music gives me life. It makes me, even if I walk in the studio and I feel a bit empty, I can put the music on and it's just channeling some, higher vibe in the studio. And then the reflection of that is, if I think about the work that I made over the last year or so, which was to do with childhood and religion and things, and journeys that family members were on that I couldn't help them with. I played a lot of Irish music, interestingly, a lot of folk music. A lot of it does make me feel very sad, really reminds me of my father, who's now passed away. But within that, it allows you to access deeper memories. And I do think that at some level, staying in your flow state is helped by having some music and having something that helps you to connect to something much deeper within you. I think the work looks different when I've been listening to certain music. And I think that might be taking us almost to the end. I'm just going to have a wee look to see if there's anything that I need to add into that. Other than to say my Instagram handle is Caroline Lovett, Lovett artist. And it's been a pleasure talking to you today about my background and some of the things that have informed my work. Hope to speak to you again soon. Thank you. Bye.